everybody, and a very warm welcome back to the latest episode of Hidden Jewels of Soul and Disco. I do hope you're doing absolutely fantastic. In this week's episode, we are featuring an artist who unfortunately never made it big, but left some giant footsteps in Canada. This week we are featuring Jayson Hoover.
Hi, I hope you like soul music, because that's what we're presenting today on Let's Go. I'm Jayson Hoover. These are the Epics.
Why Jayson Hoover was bitterly heartbroken about his label actions in the mid-70s and why he maybe gets a huge comeback, well, we'll discuss this after some needle drops.
Your eyes have me hypnotized. That's the music. You may think I'm possessive, but I'm really not that way. I don't want to lose your love, but I know that long pink Cadillac. And sometimes he would bring in a couple of girls he'd been working.
Jayson Hoover came to Vancouver in 1964 from Edmonton. His first publicly known musical footprints were left in the late 60s. He founded a group which was called Jayson Hoover and the Epics, and they had appearances on CBC, and they were appearing in the show Let's Go. In this show, singers would cover Motown songs, and the host of the show once said, "You know very well when Jayson Hoover and the Epics are in your town because they drive a purple tour bus." In the same year, in 1968, Jayson Hoover shared the stage with Led Zeppelin. To be more exact, on December the 28th. So Vanilla Fudge was giving a huge concert, and like the warm-up gigs were Jayson Hoover and the Epics and Led Zeppelin. At that time, Jayson Hoover was more known to the audience than Led Zeppelin because Led Zeppelin was a month away to release their debut album. For the next tour, Led Zeppelin arrived as huge superstars, but that didn't happen to Jayson Hoover. Jayson Hoover and the Epics disbanded in 1968, and Jayson founded a new group which was called The Trials of Jayson Hoover. And with that name, they released their most successful single, which was called King Size. Actually, the single was released or recorded with the Epics, but was released under the name The Trials of Jayson Hoover. The Trials renamed to Anvil Chorus, but everything came pretty much to a halt when Jayson decided in June in 1971 to go solo, and he signed a contract with Mushroom Records. And in 1974, finally, he released his album, his debut album, and unfortunately his last album. And this is it in all of its glory, simply called Jayson Hoover. You can put it or open it up that way. You have a scene from Eva as she bites into the apple. Here you have the credits in the apple. If you open it up that way, you have the whole picture, and I just love those 70s cover art. I also want to show you the label from Mushroom Records because I love this as well. Those 70s label, they were a piece of art. And here it is, the famous Mushroom Record label. And if you were like in Germany in those early 70s krautrock, psychedelic records, they had quite similar labels like this. Also, this record came into the shrink. I had, of course, to open up the shrink because I listened to the records. And it contained the hype sticker, which will say it includes the hit single Love Will Get You, She's My Lady, and Riding High. She's My Lady got quite some airplay with around 200 radio stations picking that song up. You remember when I said in the beginning that Jayson was heartbroken about some actions his label did? Well, around the same time, actually in 1976, Mushroom Records had a huge hit group with a hit album. And this group was called Hearts, and they released the album Dreamboat Annie. So the record label decided to put all their money, all their marketing, everything they had within the group to push the group further up. And that meant that Jayson was pretty much overlooked. And to his own accounts, he felt bitterly heartbroken about this because he ran out of opportunities. In 1977, Jayson released his last single, Free the People. And that's unfortunately also his last single he ever released. Of course, he had constantly appearances in Vancouver and became a local sensation and hero. And here's a snippet from 1985 where he's performing She's My Lady. Unfortunately, he could never pick up where he left. He never had the opportunity again to showcase his talent and his ambition. But I don't want to end that video on this note. David Jones, who owns vinyl records in Gastown, had a close relationship with Jayson. And they met many times, and David is for some time now working on a documentary about Jayson Hoover. And I do hope, but I'm pretty sure that once this documentary is done, it will put up more spotlight to Jayson Hoover, and he finally gets the recognition he so much deserves. Jayson Hoover won't see that documentary or won't see the recognition he will get because he sadly passed away in November of 2023. If you find his album or one of his singles in the wild or somewhere, I can highly recommend that you give it a listen, or the best thing to do is grab it and bring it home and play it as much as you like. You'll find this record between $30 to $200. That's a huge price span. It depends on the market, but I've seen it for $30. I've seen it for much more. But if it fits with your budget and the condition, I would highly recommend that you have a listen to Jayson's album and also his singles. I'm wishing you guys all the best. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you next time.